This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Emails, websites. Yesterday when I was young, so many songs were waiting to be sung.
I like the way you sort of treat Instagram like the slightly neglected youngest child. And you, Instagram,
Well,
come
I think
on,
it's
there's
still
room
new.
for us all.
It's still the new, there's still the
Me
last
too.
in, first out person at the factory.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to make it welcome.
What about Snapchat? No one does that anymore.
Not for
Embarrassing.
anything. No, I think aren't the youth still doing it, or is it gone?
Is that the one that's 7-second video?
Yeah.
Good knowledge.
Yeah.
A little bit too intimate, if you ask
You
me.
think his knowledge?
Now, I once called it backpack
Did you?
without any comic intention. Just, you know those moments you get older when life just makes you comic? It was one of those. But I wonder what backpack would be. It would store something and annoy people. You need to
Yes.
need those two combination.
Yes.
I walked into a bloke, or a bloke walked into me, I think would be nearer the truth, and he had a big bag and he had it hung on the front of him, unusually. So he was using it like a front bumper walking through Soho
Like a
on
sort
a...
of faux pregnancy.
Oh, but
Yeah.
it was quite, it was sturdy. Oh, I hope something bad happened to him.
Did he have a backpack on as well? Is that why he
I
decided
didn't notice
to go?
the backpack. I was still on the floor from being. I mean, he was using it in order to walk straight ahead through the crowd,
barging, yeah.
and I thought he's going to get hit by somebody. This bloke.
Your Kath, I went to a party with her this week and she kept the rucksack on throughout the entire evening.
Really?
It was a lovely outfit.
She can't breathe without that. it's apparatus. Oh God, that's awkward.
What? We shouldn't. Let's
It's
make it
actually-
look nice. Let's put.
It's
so we
actually
could
fused. It's fused onto a spinal cord. That'd be awkward, wouldn't it?
You could at least put some glitter on it or make
Get
it
it
look pretty for
upholstered
her.
with some velvet or something.
Somebody they used to have Q&As at the end of Clive Anderson's chat show, and the first time I did it, they had all these Q&As, and obviously you don't know what's coming, and someone in the audience said, so what were you doing 30 years ago today? I said, I was in a coma, thanks. I really thank you for bringing that up. And it was one of one of those where people think, is this a joke? Because I wasn't that well known. I could have been Coma Kid and just hadn't brought it out in interviews. I was saving it for a dip in my career when I could come up with it.
Yeah.
It'd be the Piers Morgan show, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And then there was, so next, Coma Kid. And then into some adverts for...
Well, that would explain why you look so youthful. Because, as you know, I was once set up on a date with someone who'd been in a coma for 10 years.
Oh, was you? Oh,
Yeah,
that
do
rings
you remember
a bell.
that? And it's my father, thanks, Dad. And
To set
it's-
up the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I think it was his neighbour's son or something. He said, he'd be lovely for you. So there's just one thing. I mean, that's not just one thing. I'd say that's a headline.
Quite a big thing.
Brilliant. I didn't think people came out of them after
Well,
in
they don't
films.
normally. It was very unusual. He'd been 10 years, and so we worked out what he'd missed.
Brilliant.
And the main thing I
But
was...
your job to tell him.
Well, he'd missed... I could have told some terrible lies.
Yeah. Well, he hadn't just come out. He wasn't still in a gown.
Well, he had to be to date me, dear. But,
Oh.
yeah, he'd missed Oasis and Britpop and that whole phenomenon, I remember
had he
thinking.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Good on him, though, if you're listening, mate. That's tremendous news. I didn't think you could come out of him after that long.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think you might be taking the wrong positive from this story for Emily's liking.
No, but you know what I mean? It's if you'd been in prison, for
Yeah.
example, and you on your CV, you could put you could construct a coma situation to cover it.
Sounds like a
little
crime,
tip there
but
for
yeah.
about, I'd say, between 60 and 70% of our listeners. Be glad to hear that.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
760 has texted, you were talking about Snapchat and other social media innovations. He says he's starting a new social media platform for teenagers and their parents. It's called Backchat. You know, because teenagers are a bit gobby.
Oh, is it a joke, or is he actually? Is he a .com millionaire?
No, I think. Well, he might be a potential one, but I think it's a joke.
Do you still get .com millionaires? I haven't heard it mentioned for a long time.
No.
You probably get tech millionaires now, don't you? Or billionaires even.
Speaking of tech,
I
was cleaning my teeth this week.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can see the surprise on your faces. And I don't know about you, but several years ago, at the advice of my dentist, I switched to...
Can you give me his number, your dentist?
I can.
Okay,
Yeah, people are always asking me that. But mainly people who work in the zombie film industry. Anyway,
No, because I have got Jonathan Ross's Halloween party's not that fun.
Oh.
Can I just say, you're always hard on your teeth, and I love your smile.
I know, but then they are bad. I noticed a picture of me the other day, and I thought, well, I'm going a bit Queen Mardre.
You're not.
Anyway, it's fine. I get a lot of these reenactment societies offering me big money deals to transfer to them.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I was cleaning my... and I was dressed all in black, an inky garb.
Right.
Oh, what, a sort of tunic?
No, just black
satin thing.
So black trousers, black
what's this,
t-shirt.
Saturday Night Fever at a funeral?
Yeah, I was actually
Steven Seagal.
Didn't I say I was Darth Vader? It's not easy to clean your teeth as Darth Vader.
No.
Anyway, I got it stuck in the grating.
Oh, yes, because you've got a Darth Vader helmet in your hallway.
Oh, actually, that's Kylo Ren.
Oh,
Don't
I do
you know?
apologise.
Speaking of which, and bringing all this together, thank you to Donut Time. Is that the name of the company, or is it? Oh, it's an online shop who sent us. It's May the 4th today, and as you know,
It is.
one of the few celebratory days that's based on a pond, which is why I love it so much. And it is because of May the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars Day. And what is funny about that?
Well, just most of the world would say Star Wars.
Other
Day.
pronunciations are available.
Anyway, they sent
Star
us.
Wars.
I don't get that. I think everybody says Star Wars. Anyway,
Apparently they don't.
okay. So they've sent us some donuts, Star Wars themed donuts. You wouldn't believe these donuts. I mean,
I've never seen anything like
they're
it.
donuts
look
for
sweet.
a start off. You know, that's already, you're thinking, whoa, can I risk a donut? And then they've got Milky Way, just Milky Way that's just roughly hacked apart, stuck on the top.
Someone's used some sort of a chainsaw.
And then a chunk of one of those Galaxy caramels.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
some
great.
And Milky Way stars, which I've never actually heard of before.
Oh, yeah, no, they're a thing.
Anyway,
A navy/black, well, inky icing.
Well, they've got inky icing representing space.
Okay.
Didn't I tell you that when I went on Concorde, that when you get to maximum height, the sky is like a little bit dark around the edges, like a bit of an element of nearly space about it.
Oh, really?
Just a bit, it just looks different. Yeah.
Exciting, like you're on the sort of periphery.
They're like, you know,
Brilliant.
like you're on your way to space. But then we didn't go there.
That's very exciting.
But anyway, I
on
think it's
Concorde.
supposed to represent, those sort of meteor showers that you get now and again in Star Wars, in which it's bouncing off the Millennium Falcon and stuff like
No,
that.
I don't actually.
And like a black hole maybe in the middle of the donut. I mean, it's got all the Star Wars themes. In a week, by the way, when we should say... I was really sad to hear about Peter Mayhew
Oh,
dying.
I am sad about that. I'm a huge Chewie lover.
Well, I've got a friend who's a very big Star Wars fan as well. I mean, bigger than me, probably. And I sent him a thing that said Chewie R.I.P. And he just sent back in brackets mournful growl.
Oh.
It's a great response. I thought. "Urgh." Anyway. That's that bit done. Oh, sorry, music, that's what they're after.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Sarah Romford. I don't know if there's a comma in between
I hope
there.
she's called Sarah Romford, like Eric Morecambe and, although David
Ray
Essex.
Fowler.
David Essex. Is Parler a place?
No, he's called the Romford Pele.
Oh, of course he is.
All right.
My son is 9 today, and he's always been a Star Wars baby. On the day he was born, the midwife actually said, "You have a Star Wars baby." I keep going to say Star Wars, sorry. And all our friends congratulated us. He loves Star Wars and thinks it's so cool that his birthday is on May the 4th.
It's I do like, though, as a great lover of the pun, it's great the way it's become a thing based on the pun, isn't it?
Yes.
I can't think of any other examples of that. It's a brilliant. By the way, have you seen the trailer for Star Wars 9?
No?
No, I haven't actually.
Also, what about you're on about? I still don't. When you put me up on Star Wars, I still can't quite see what I'm doing wrong. But
Okay.
C-3PO, he says Chewbacca.
Can I just pull you up a bit on C-3PO?
You don't
no,
call
that's-
you don't call him C-3PO.
I would say C-3PO.
Well, I mean, this is just I can't cope with this. It's doing my head in.
It's difficult for you,
How
isn't
would
it?
you say it, Al?
C-3PO.
We're the same. Funny that.
C-3PO, surely.
You sound like him when you say it.
But I say Chewbacca, and C-3PO says,
Right, how do you say it? I say Chewbacca.
oh no, that's enough of this. They're going to turn
Al?
off.
Chewbacca.
Yeah, Frank, it seems to me...
You don't say Chewbacca.
I don't think I
No,
do.
because no one says that.
What is it just
No.
about Star Wars then that I... perhaps my VHS is a slipping. I hate it when that happens. I haven't finished telling you about my electric toothbrush.
Oh, yeah, tell us about that.
So
Yeah.
I dropped that baby mid clean.
You dropped
Have you ever dropped an electric toothbrush mid brush?
Oh, it's like wriggling around
Does it
like
writhe
a worm.
around? Is that what happens?
It was terrible. It sort of zigzagged down my black. I mean, it down my black t-shirt.
Your
it went.
kimono.
And your black silk Steven Seagal shirt.
I was just going out. I was doing the last minute clean of teeth before I leave the house.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking now in future I'm just going to clean my teeth naked or, at least in a pyjama jacket.
Right.
So I dropped it. It's almost like it slowed itself up in order to daub my T-shirt.
Oh.
And then it dropped to the floor and it operated as a sort of a sprinkler system on my shoes and trousers. So I had to change the whole outfit based on one tiny slip of the hand. I had no idea, and it reminded me of all the science fiction I've read over the years. The bots, the droids,
Oh, yeah, the machines.
AI, they always turn on the human beings.
Yeah.
In the end.
I've never read one about the electric toothbrush.
Well, it's the
Not
little
yet,
things.
you haven't.
It might have gone on a killing spree now. It might have left the house.
Well, the great thing is if you drop a manual toothbrush, I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember him,
Yes.
the Jewish dentist.
I thought he played for Arsenal.
If you drop one of those, when it stops, when you stop, it stops. You know what I mean?
yeah.
When the fun stops.
Stop.
When the
Yeah.
toothbrush stops, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the brushing stops. Anyway, yeah, it stops, so that couldn't have happened. He could have had a slight blemish, but it wouldn't have carried on spraying me.
You wouldn't have had the full-on fluoride sprinkler system.
I just remember thinking to myself, God, and we're talking about driverless cars.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We can just collectively wish everyone whose birthday is today on May the 4th happy birthday, happy whatever it is,
Yeah.
Star Wars Day. You don't have to all text us forever. I know I sound a little weather beaten, but that's...
Yeah.
Wow.
Think of those 50 pences in the absolute
I
coffers.
don't get them, do I?
I'm going to do this every week
I'm not
about,
on like
about what the date and how significant it is.
I'm not on like a text split.
No, yes, happy birthday. Okay. Okay.
I can't get over what happened.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay.
I can't get over what happened to you with that toothbrush.
You know what? I had to change shoes, everything.
Did you go and put an outfit on that was red, white and blue, like your toothpaste?
I'd done my teeth then.
Ah,
So
Why were you wearing all black then? Were you sort of tech support?
just a coincidence.
Yeah, he was working as a stage manager that night.
Yeah, I got a bit of
manager.
He had a Leatherman and a bunch of keys as well.
I'd got some cash in hand with a East European puppet troupe.
I can't ever see him as a stage manager, Al, but
No.
I can see him as a 1950s janitor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Very funny he would have been.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Be one of those people that. Do you remember it? Was it in Rhoda? He used to be a bloke who. This is Rory, your janitor. You never saw him. He was just a voice on a intercom. Intercom. I haven't heard that for a bit.
No.
I'll tell you what. I woke up the other morning and. I mean, I was just glad about that. And I had a lot of flies in my bedroom. I mean, I tried to count them, but God, would they keep still?
Were they the small inferior kind or the buzzing bluebottle
I
kind?
tell you what they were, and there must be a technical name for them. They were the completely silent flies. And they look like flies. They're not like gnats or anything like that. They're proper little black flies.
They look like flies.
But what they do, it looks like they're perpetually locked in barn dance mode. So there's sort of ones moving not that much round the circle, like they're the ones that are clapping. And then in the middle, you'll get two go really, really fast around each other, like that.
Yeah.
And then they go back, and then another couple will come in. But you cannot hear a damn thing. They're utterly
Well, what if
silent.
that is their wedding celebration? I told you.
It's going on forever, though.
Well, I told you once when some ants, I poured water on some ants, and my father said in the ant history that would be documented as the
Yeah.
Great Flood.
Yeah, that
Oh,
would be.
yeah.
And possibly that was a big royal wedding in your bedroom.
But they always like that. Those kind of
Maybe
the
they're
silent
just, maybe they're
flies.
just really enjoying it and they adhere to the rule when the fun stops, stop. They just keep it going.
They're not having the,
They had
they're not
gone.
up to no good, are they?
They had gone the next day,
Had they?
as if that thing. When you leave the hotel the next morning. Yeah, but I'd love to know if anyone knows what those flies. They don't buzz. They don't make any noise. If anyone knows
They
what
do
they
a sort
are,
of a barn dance.
yeah, the barn dancing silent flies. If there's a technical term for that.
And also, can someone explain why,
Barn
Frank,
dancers, dog dirters.
why there are so many of these green ones?
What's the
I've
green
had
one?
enough of the green ones.
Little
Why?
green
They've
flies.
They've been all up in my grill.
Oh, they come. I've got a yellow T-shirt that I sometimes wear, and they
Big Wow.
fly and they just land on that.
Do you
Great
think
work
they
on
ever
Big Wow.
Do you think they ever say I kissed the grill and I liked it? No, is the answer to that. Yeah, if we could find out those little quiet barn dancing flies, I can't imagine them on dog excrement. They seem like a delicate, fun-loving race. The other ones the other ones have a sinister. They're quite up themselves. The buzzing ones.
Okay, because I'm thinking of the three types that I would have normally
Three
see in
now?
my house.
Someone's calling them cluster flies.
Oh,
on
that
the,
sounds right because they certainly cluster. Yeah, if I had to list their characteristics, cluster would be. I mean, even alphabetically, cluster would probably be first on the list. They do. They herd. Hello. So he looks at me then and in horror. Oh, God, you shouldn't have said that. That's going to get us into the most awful trouble. You never know what's coming up next.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Any news on the cluster flies?
Oh, good question.
Well, Nasher in Bedford, and what I like about Nasher is in a callback to our. Do you remember when we were talking about the car
Nasher
reg?
in Bedford sounds like a piece of manly advice you might get from friends.
Nasher still spells his name.
GN.
I can't actually believe you sometimes.
GNASH.
He spells it in the car reg form.
Oh.
NA45HER.
Oh, I bet that's his number plate.
I love that about
I
Nasher.
hope so.
And the other reason I love Nasher is he also he had a number of those green coloured flies in his house. And
Aphids.
Yeah. Are they actually aphids?
Well, they used to call them green fly. Then somebody I heard someone calling them aphids, and it's like that thing. When I thought, oh, that sounds a bit more technical. I'll go with that.
I think I'm having that.
Yeah, exactly.
He said he had them in his house, but then he, of course, ended it with a joke about green bottles, 9 green bottles, etc.
I like it.
Did you like that? He said they kept disappearing one by one. At first, there were 10 green bottles buzzing in my room. Then
Aren't
there were
they
9
blue
green
bottles?
bottles. He's doing a joke.
I think we're talking about different flies as well. You're talking about house flies with green.
No, he is doing a joke.
Oh. It's just that some of the blue flies, the blue bottles, are a bit green around the belly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just saying that.
Claire Edwards says, light yourself a citrus candle.
Okay.
In
Thanks
case
very
they're-
much. I'll just put one out.
In case they're bitey gnats or something.
Bitey
Oh,
gnats.
John Butler suggests you have fleas.
What?
Who?
Just tell John Butler to stop throwing accusations around about my friend Frank, actually.
Oh, do
Bishop,
you know,
yeah,
I love
hasn't he
that
heard of-
romance moment.
Hasn't he read the essay, Bishop Butler's Government of the Tongue? In which he talks about not saying bad things even though they occur to you. Anyway, he probably hasn't. I'm guessing he hasn't.
reference
We'll
to
put
the
it on the
essay.
Absolute website
The
straight away.
Bishop Butler essay.
Imagine that, calling the boss. Paul, you couldn't stick Bishop Butler's Government of the Tongue essay, could you, on...
I think it's already up there
Oh,
from
is
last
it?
time.
Yeah.
We had an email in on
We
Friday.
did what?
Yeah, I just thought I'd slightly drag us back to more mainstream
Sorry, I
fare.
had a
than-
flashback to my childhood. Oh, yeah. Good. What
Drag us
happened?
back to more mainstream fare.
What was it
for
about,
a
Alan?
radio show. You know, last week we were discussing. Well, I'll read it to you. Morning, Frank, Emily, and Alan. Last week, Frank was going on about how long it has been since he's put.
Steady on.
You know, no, it seems a bit harsh the way I
That's
phrased
so
it.
the way a partner relays an
I am
anecdote. So anyway, Frank was going on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Can I say I am that? It is in my contract going on.
yeah. About how long it has been since he last put 2 legs in one pant hole.
Oh, yes.
It's been a while.
I was talking about trousers, I think.
What do you mean by that then?
You know when you accidentally put two
Trousers in, 2 legs in the same trouser leg. Do you know that?
Who's ever done that?
Oh,
I've
come
done it.
on.
Oh, I've gone out like it.
Everyone's done that.
I haven't done
I've
that.
gone out like it with another drunken person in the other leg.
I saw a video of a builder doing that one. No, putting a tracksuit top on, trying to put them on his trousers.
Oh, that is
Have you
funny.
seen that?
That
Yes.
is very funny.
But
Never
I think they were a bit tipsy. It's a funny
I think
clip.
they'd had a few cocktails.
Very funny.
Anyway, as you were.
Alan Cocktails. That'd be a good name. If ever you
Yeah.
bring out your own cocktail like a John Collins or
I
something.
might do that.
Can I ask you, can we make this a teaser? Because the producer's
Yes.
a bit edgy that we need to go into messages. But I think
100.
this,
Oh, we
I,
all
I
do.
like this as a teaser. So what's the official
What's the teaser?
Someone has done something similar to the 2 feet in one leg.
And we'll find out what it is after this.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We're discussing flies this morning on
We're-
Absolute Radio.
We're on a cliff here, remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's actually
This was about trouser legs, wasn't it?
It was.
I suppose flies might have been involved.
No, it was a reference to last week when you were saying that you hadn't put your 2 legs into one pant hole, one trouser leg hole.
Oh,
I
yes.
get so
For a-
nostalgic,
a
don't I,
while.
on this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to? Anyway, our emailer Benji continues. I did something rather similar this week. In my haste, I sat down on the toilet, not realising the seat was up. I was greeted by a less than comfortable cold inner circle of the loo
That's happened to
and
me.
sprang up again in surprise. I feel that these 2 things may live on the same street. Can confirm it's been the same. It's been years since my last incident, and I'll be more diligent in the future. Please discuss. Keep well, Benji.
Oh, I like keep well.
Me too.
I do.
Um,
It's quite sort of Victorian philanthropist.
Keep well.
it's I think it's a bit East End gangster.
Oh,
When I said
with a hint
goodbye-
of menace.
When Charlie Cray said goodbye to me, he kissed his fingertips and sort of waved them towards me as if he was sort of
Did he?
flicking a kiss. Yeah, it's very,
Sounds
very
like he was
mafia-ish.
Casting a spell on you.
Yeah, well,
I love. You see, when most people start an anecdote with when Charlie Cray said
Yeah.
goodbye to me, well, they're no longer here.
Yeah, it's not, it's not an anecdote that happens that much.
Very few members of the living can tell that anecdote.
yeah. I mean, I don't think Jack the Hat McVitie has got a radio show.
No.
No, sadly, no
More's
longer
the
with us.
pity.
No longer with us.
I thought that was an excellent contribution, Benji, and I too have sat accidentally on the toilet with the seat up.
It is a
and found
complete
it
shocker. I don't know why
Oh.
plastic is so much holds more warmth than.
And also, it feels like you're falling back much further than the difference between seat down and seat up.
Still, if you're going to have a suddenly startling experience, that's the place to have it.
It's almost like you shouldn't leave the toilet seat up. Shall we
Good
go
point.
on?
Good point,
Why
well
haven't
Thank
lit.
you. Thank you.
Okay,
men.
well, I won't lift it anymore. What about that?
Also a good point. Right back
Shall
at you.
we? I thought he might have saved up an answer for that because that's come up before. I think.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, I reckon.
Oh, are you honestly suggesting? I hate it when people do that. That's one of my pet hates.
What?
They say things like, "Oh, it's a good job we did that in rehearsal," when you've done something like quick and spontaneous,
All right.
trying to slightly undermine your abilities.
No, I was
damn it.
suggesting you did it at home, you
Yeah, I think she
paranoid
was-
loon.
Next,
I was suggesting you did it at home.
Frank Carson
Legal
did
man.
it to me once.
Did
Did
he?
what? The thing that I didn't do.
Okay, I accept you did. I accept you didn't do it. But I was on a panel show with him, and he said
Yeah.
something, and I banged a reply. Got a big applause from the
Yeah.
crowd, and he said, "I'm really glad we did that in rehearsal."
Oh.
Wow.
Well, can I just say I would
Cheeky.
never do that.
No, it's okay.
I was being rude about your relationship, which is which you know.
I'm happy with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
I was suggesting it might have been a row at home, the toilet seat. We've had an email
No,
in about.
the row at home is the floor under the toilet is the main source.
Well, why?
of the
What happens
falling.
there?
Oh,
Well,
well.
there's me and a 6-year-old living in the same 6-year-old boy in the same house.
And is he better behaved than you in
well,
that
no,
area?
we both. I think
They both blame each other.
we've both felt that area of the toilet floor is a sort of periphery area of the toilet.
Oh, for
I don't think it's.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I don't think it's quite part of the house proper. It's sort of the toilet. It's the M25 of the toilet bowl.
Is it your slip road?
It is, yes.
Oh,
Is that an anagram? Doesn't quite work. Sip road. That would no. Oh dear. We'll have to explain that, Laurie McMenemy, sort of fairly intermittently, won't we? Because it's become a thing. It's a thing that Laurie McMenemy, I won't go into detail, said when Gaza said a swear word on screen. And Laurie McMenemy, the current England assistant manager, was he? Went, oh no. And it's a great universal symbol of we stayed had nap. Is what it basically means.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
someone's throat just made a noise.
That was mine, I'm afraid.
Someone's
Sorry, everyone.
throat. How do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, like that.
Oh.
I think it was in honour of Chewbacca.
Yes, that's right.
It was your tribute.
Hi, Frank. Sounds like fruit flies, bracket Drosophila melanogaster,
Oh, good one.
Close
Got
bracket.
melon in it, you notice that?
melan, A-N.
Oh,
The
I
really
thought
small
fruit
black
fly.
ones. From Chloe, bracket studying ecology, so should know my insects, but don't hold me to anything.
Ecology. Can you study ecology? That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Wow.
You can study a lot of stuff.
Well, so what are they called again? Fruit flies.
Fruit flies. Yeah.
There's no fruit in my bedroom.
You had fruit flies in your kitchen. I don't mean to be rude.
Wait,
Oh,
Not long ago.
they're just travelling.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
Kath told
sorry.
me they had fruit flies in the kitchen.
sorry, everyone. No, I think fruit flies are a bit smaller, aren't
Oh,
they?
really?
Oh, are they?
I'm not sure about it. I wish I took a photo of them, but they're quite. They were moving
Yeah.
a lot of the time. Next time, when they're back, next party. What if they kept me up all night? I mean, as parties go, respect to
They
Munda.
keep late hours, the flies.
They do.
What do? You see, I liberate them. I just open the the back door. They find a way out, Frank.
No, but that's how they find a way in.
Well, be careful, because 070 has texted.
Wow. Does he know C3PO?
If I said 070, it would just be weird, wouldn't it?
It's just great to hear you say
Very Yorkshire, yeah.
070.
Well, I hate to change the tone here, but strap in. This is quite a frightening text. 070. I nearly died by fly. While playing football in the park, the ball was crossed perfect for a header. As I jumped to head the ball, I inhaled a swarm of flies that were passing.
A swarm?
Several of them ended up living in my lungs. I thought I was going to die by coughing. I didn't.
That is absolutely disgusting.
Oh, is that the end of it? I didn't.
I didn't, he says.
That's the end of the...
And then it says Matt 1966. I don't know if that's his year of birth or...
Yeah.
Just
World Cup.
Maybe.
Something like that.
Maybe. Some extraneous detail that we don't need to
Death
dwell
by
on.
fly.
That's... we've all had flying mouth experiences.
Tell me about it, dear.
Yeah, but...
Clive...
I've never had them. I think the phrase was living in my lungs. How was he aware of that? I mean,
I assume he sought some medical or veterinary
they
advice.
said, "Oh yeah, you got a bunch of there's they've set up a little community."
Although that would be a great comic strip, like the numbskulls.
It would exactly like the
Flies
numbskull.
in the lungs. I'd watch that. Read it. Listen
Flies
to
in
it.
the lungs.
He had to eat certain foods that the flies would like in there.
What? It wouldn't. He'd have to inhale stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, you'd have to breathe in a lot of dog excrement to keep them settled. You'd have to get a dog excrement inhaler. You take out the medic. What do they have in asthma inhalers? What's that thing in the middle of it?
Good question.
We know what
What's
that
it called? What's it called?
Anyway, unscrew the cylinder,
Yeah.
take that out, and just put a small dog excrement section.
Can you
in
imagine?
there.
Oh.
And then, there you go. That's one for the boys. I'm sorry, there would be females as well down
They'd
there.
be fluttering around in there. I'd want to calm them down.
I imagine
Make you want to have one of... Yeah.
Yeah, crazy night outs in the aorta. That's the kind of life they'd be leading. Oh, dear.
Can I quickly say to you, Clive has got in touch to say Frank is right.
Oh,
I
We haven't read this.
don't need anything
I
else.
thought you'd like that. C3PO is his serial number, but his name is 3PO, pronounced 3... Hang on, how did Frank say it?
C3PO.
C3PO, yeah, pronounced 3PO.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Luke says it that way in the trash compactor. Charming.
oh, does he?
I told you when I met him at a party. I met him at a bar mitzvah. And...
Was that before or after Charlie Craig came over and said goodbye?
No, it would have been after.
Okay.
And he... have I got time to tell this, Sarah? No, I
she
can't.
wants
I won't.
us to stop.
I won't. That's okay. We'll stop.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I was in the middle of a... is it Anthony Daniels? Is that his name?
Oh, yeah.
Someone said to me,
C3PO.
that guy's C3PO over there at the party. I must have told this before. And he looked a bit short to me to be C3PO. And I said, well, he looks short to me. So he came over and said, I understand you told me, you said I was too short to be C3PO. And I said, well, I just, yes, I did say that. And then he started telling me about how he got the part and stuff like that. And he said he met George Lucas and there was a painting in the room and Anthony talked about the painting. And that's what really impressed George Lucas.
Excellent.
Which I once gave someone a job on the strength of the fact that they recognised I was listening to Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask replica when they walked in the office. He went, oh, Trout Mask replica. I thought, you're in, mate.
Yeah.
He became a very good friend of mine. I mean, it's a great opener. So anyway, we did all this. Have I not told you this before? And then he went out to get a cab, C3PO.
Are you sure this isn't a dream?
No.
It's just the way we say it. And then he went out to get a cab.
So we were
C3PO.
sitting in this place. It was in Islington. We were sitting there, and he was outside Islington in North London, a large conurbation in the southeast of England. And he was standing outside waiting for the cab, and he looked in at me. By now, I'd realised he really was C3PO. So I waved in a very friendly way. he immediately went into an absolute perfect C-3PO movement of
He didn't do
angularity.
the little mini
jerky.
bow as well.
It
It's a little
he
mini...
just became him. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. And then gave me the massive digit. Our C-3PO. It was a great moment, I must say. And what I think, which can be told today of all days.
Yes.
May the fourth.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're actually eating the Star Wars donut. By the way, on the subject of Star
I've
Wars
eaten
or
a
Star
whole
Wars.
Well,
one. It's a
how
lot of
far...
sugar.
Frank Skinner said to us at the beginning he didn't think we'd get through a whole one. Alan's demolished his.
Yeah.
I've only got...
But Alan will burn it off on the mat later on. I won't.
with the Thai toshi. I've got a third left of mine.
Okay.
Okay, how are you, Frank Skinner?
Well, I've only just finished me crisps. You know, you can't eat sweet and then savoury, as I think has been long established. So, I mean, I got a Star Wars donut, a Doctor Who coffee cup. Honestly, it's a clash of franchises.
Yeah.
Cannot be good. Anyway, what else?
Well, there's a couple of things. I want to talk about Rag and Bone Man's wedding.
Can I tell you just something else on the subject of those franchises?
Sure.
I went to the theatre on Monday evening. This week I've seen a play, a film, a stand-up show featuring Alan Cochrane, the popular entertainer,
Oh, I'm off tonight.
and 2 art gallery exhibitions. I mean, come on.
That is plenty.
Is this some...
Can I say, I really enjoyed Alan Cochrane's show
thank
last
you.
night. What a fine comic he is.
Oh,
He
tar.
is. It's
Excellent.
very
He's at
well.
the Soho Theatre tonight. I don't know if there's anyone can squeeze in, but...
Well, I'm going down, so, you know,
Cool.
don't crowd me.
Do you know a bloke came
I
up
just
to
want to
me?
live my life in
A bloke
peace.
came up to me before the show and said, "Oh, all right, Frank, just thought I'd come over and say hello."
Yeah.
And he said, he was very nice, and he said, he says, "You're really funny on the radio." He said, "But Room 101, that's what I love. That's brilliant." Blah blah blah. I thought that's great. I'll take it as 2 things.
Yeah.
He said, "Anyway, how come you come see this guy?"
Oh, my God.
I said, "Well, he's on the radio."
Oh, my God.
He says, "Is it? Oh, okay." He said, "I know, he said, my partner my wife saw him on YouTube the weekend, said, we've got to go and see this guy, so here we are." That's what I said. It's like when someone said to me, a nurse, the other nurses had to explain who I was to her, always embarrassed, as a young girl. And they said he hosts that Room 101, and she said, "Oh, I love that programme." You must have seen me on it. You don't notice me on it. Of course, we don't know what they're getting free from the pharmacy.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Now,
Someone says 503 talking of theatres, looking forward to seeing Frank in Cambridge in November.
Yes, my national tour begins in September. I shall be in Edinburgh in August and at the Leicester Square Theatre in London in June.
Lovely.
There's the full extent of my current stand-up. I shall also be at the Latitude Festival.
Oh, will you?
I will.
Oh, Frank, you at the festival. I might pop down there myself.
It's a great festival.
I might be down there myself working.
I,
Oh,
of course, plug in your book.
Oh, yes. This person actually says they had me talking with Jeremy Jezza this week.
Javine.
Yeah, Jay Vine's a big fan of the show.
Oh, yeah, I remember him listening to it when he was
Yeah, but
dancing.
he has to do
That's
it
right.
discreetly.
Because he gets told off because we're a rival station.
Yes.
I know, but for goodness
It's
sake.
a secret love.
I mean, do you ever read radio reviews in the newspapers?
No.
No, do they do radio reviews?
Not of commercial radio. It's almost all these people saying commercial radio. I don't think so. It's just like BBC this, BBC that, BBC.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys.
Throw the net a little wider.
Yeah.
I think your campaign is going to have to stretch a little further than "Come on, guys."
Well, it's all right. They don't listen to it, so it doesn't matter.
Well, Jay
Anyway,
Vine
look,
does,
I
but
went
he
to
loves us and we love him.
Oh, yeah, what were you seeing?
I went to see All My Sons.
Oh,
One of my faves, possibly my fave.
it's good.
No, I was being pursued by the child. do they call it when you have to pay money?
Yeah, CSA.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Child support agency. Yeah, no, I wasn't. Oh, it's that terrible thing there. My memory let me down. Would have been a great joke.
I know, but come on, like Beardsley did it into you.
Yeah. So anyway, I went to see All My Sons at the Old Vic.
Nice.
Good production.
It was, you know what? It was fabulous. But I made up my mind at the beginning I was going to do a standing ovation, whether it was good or not.
Did you?
Even if they were booing and throwing stuff, I was going to
Can
do
I
a
ask
standing.
which actors were in it?
Well, that is why I was going to do a standing ovation.
Right.
There was
Oh, someone in Doctor Who. Was it Sylvester McCoy?
Jenna Coleman, formerly, of course, Clara Oswald,
Yeah.
Merlin,
No way.
Colin Morgan,
Who's-
the President from Independence Day, and Aunt May from Spider-Man, all in the same play. I thought,
Wow.
I don't care what the play is like.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to be in a lift with these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it turned out, the play was fantastic.
And you got the same lift later as well.
Oh, no, I wish I'd got the same lift, although I would have meant... I'll tell you when I was in a lift with John Hurt, and I said to him, this is the only time I've been in a lift when I'm hoping it breaks down and we're stuck in it for ages. He looked edgy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Did you meet John Hurt?
I've never met John Hurt.
I did. What I liked, Frank, is he arrived in a raincoat
Okay.
and a hat. I mean, it was everything I wanted Hurt to be. And I said, we were doing some filming with him, and I said, would you, can we get you a car? And he said, no, darling, always walk. And what I liked is always walk. He didn't say I always walk, it was always walk.
Great.
It was
Okay.
more an instruction.
Like, partly to you, partly to himself.
It was like always
Love it.
walk in life.
Partly to you, partly to himself was the subtle follow-up to the Chuckle Brothers.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I've got to tell you about my trip. I went to Newcastle this week. I resisted saying Newcastle. Don't you hate it when people do an accent for the area they went to? They go, I went to Manchester.
You mean if they're not from the area?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're allowed, obviously. You're allowed to say, I went to Birmingham.
Well, my problem is if I say I'm going to someone says, oh, I grew up in Newcastle, and then when you see them, they'll say, anyway, give my love to Newcastle. And you think, well, how do I do that?
Yeah, it's very
Well,
difficult.
I can tell you.
I used to do it in the old days.
Well, I didn't do that this time. It was just me and my dog Raymond.
Okay.
I was asked to give...
Did you go on by sled?
Oh, that would have been good.
I couldn't see him pull
I'll
it.
tell
It'd
you
have
what,
taken a
Frank,
long
would have
time.
been quicker
No
than the
disrespect.
train.
No
Oh, really?
disrespect, but would he have pulled you?
What do you mean?
He's tiny.
He's a small dog, isn't he?
He's not a sled
Well, I'm a
pulling
small
type.
character.
I know, but he's a small dog.
Oh, he goes.
I don't know how he must have felt about Chewbacca because he's quite Chewbacca-esque.
He is. I sometimes call him offspring of Chewbacca, but he's more. I think if I'm going to be honest, he's more if Chewbacca had a one-night encounter.
Well, yes, with
another-
Ant-Man.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. So yes, I was asked to give a TED talk, which
Wow.
is. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh,
this
I'm
concept.
aware of the formats, yes?
I know of them. I don't know why they're called TED Talks. Does it stand for something?
It does. It's technology, entertainment, and design. Not that mine was any of those things,
Didn't
really.
know
It was
that.
more sort of,
Entertainment.
mine was more of a death and dogs based chat.
Yeah, you want double D talk. But if you Googled that,
That might have been a
Goodness
different
me.
thing.
That's my
double D
specialist
talk.
area.
Yeah, exactly.
But they
This week, Maria Whittaker discusses the British newspaper.
I love a mention of MW.
Yeah.
So anyway, they'd have the big Canadian conference, and that's where all the posh people go. That's where
Right.
Bill Clinton, Al Gore, they did their talks. Pope Francis has done a TED talk.
He hasn't.
Really?
Has he really?
He got special dispensation, as it were, to do it from an office.
Oh, he didn't. Okay.
He didn't have to set foot in that big arena
Oh,
with the
I really
headset.
wanted to know what his rider was.
Yeah.
5 loaves, 3 fishes.
Also, Frank, did he have to wear the headset, the mic? No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, did you wear a...
Like the Madonna mic.
Well,
Yeah.
they offered. Oh, he's done it.
Yeah.
Done it.
Do you know? We should say we've talked about that on this show before, and Frank has said how when you refer to it as a Madonna mic,
I'm
it
fine
is
with it.
quite aging. So
Yeah, I said it's what young people call a microphone.
Yeah, which I love that
But
obsession.
she is the first person I ever saw. Well, I'll tell you, the first
Well-
person I saw was the Angels in Captain Scarlet had a very, very similar thing on their helmets they used to speak
Right,
into.
that well-known documentary.
But on stage, they had names like Harmony and Rhapsody and stuff like that. The Angels,
That was
brilliant.
first crush. Do you know, I was very mindful of what you'd said about the Madonna thing. So
Okay.
because when I was doing the TED Talk, they were all sort of young, cool people. You know what I intentionally said? They asked what sort of mic I'd like. And I said, I don't know if I'll go for the Britney mic.
Oh, no.
Because I thought that would be anti-aging for me.
Yes. I
That's
don't know if
good.
you quite get there.
Oh, Frank, I tried. Yeah, but at least I'd say I shaved 7 years off.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
well, yeah.
Okay.
But then it'll always be a Madonna mic to me. Pretty picture. Well, no, that's not Madonna, but it's about the way we were.
Okay. Anyway, I've got a lot to tell you about this, but the producer's giving me
the
evils.
producer with
Giving
her
me the evils.
I don't know. Should we drop the music from this program?
8, 12, 15.
Just might. Maybe if he just did my 6 tracks. Because the other stuff, you can hear it, here and there. Okay.
Can we not do that?
No, okay.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
The TED Talk, Frank. Yeah, so
Very exciting.
wow. I mean, it is and it isn't. Because I'm drinking from your cup, Al.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's the Big TED, Frank, which is in...
Big Ted, I had one of them.
Big TED is in Canada, and that's the big posh
Big
one.
Ted's in Canada.
Big
I thought he was in the. I thought he was in the loft.
Hamble. Big TED is in Canada, and Little TED,
Yes.
which are called the sort of more global ones, the offshoots.
Oh, I didn't know there was
Yeah.
Big Ted, Little
There's
Ted.
Big TED. Well,
Are
Big
they
TED's the
called
main one.
TEDx or
Yeah,
something?
TEDx. They're ones that don't
right.
take place in Canada.
Gotcha.
So I'm talking about Canada, but they go through
And
the
there's
TED
a long one.
channel.
Extended
Yeah.
Ted.
Well, what was awful was I had to pose next to the big red TED sign with all
Okay.
the other talks, because you get, I don't know if people are familiar, but there's 6 or 7 speakers and they're at TED events, and you
I
talk.
have no idea how any of it works. It's, as far as I know, it's like a
Ask the Pope
20-minute. He never answers any of my prayers.
at Pontifex. It's 18 minutes exactly.
Okay.
Can't go under, can't go over.
Wow.
Okay? I timed it right.
Well done.
Well,
Good
except
on
when I
you.
got there and then the clock said 15 on it.
What?
I said, excuse me, this clock's wrong. They said, we'll just, you can use it up until 15.
That's not
No.
helpful, is it?
Well,
Rubbish at
I
the
thought
TED
what-
Talks.
So I've always thought of them as a bit black polo neck wearer, sort of person who would read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People on holiday. Do you
Yes,
know what I mean?
You have. I've known you take the rise out of.
I
them
really
in the
have.
past.
I really have. But I think I was just jealous because I'd never been asked.
Right.
And I also think I didn't know Bill Clinton and the Pope had done one then.
Right.
So that swayed it. Okay?
Yeah.
But I had to learn it all off by heart.
Fuck. I'm out.
Word for word.
Well, you two, this is what I was going to ask you. You two do this. You're doing a show at the moment, Al, so are you, Frank. Presumably, you're having to, I mean, I know most of your stuff is obviously off the cuff.
Nah.
But presumably, there's some things you have to learn, your jokes.
There is.
Your little jokes.
My problem with the 18 minutes thing is, of course, I could rehearse it and get it to that, but once the laughs come in, that's going to be an hour and a quarter.
Yeah.
Well, I discovered something awful about me, which
Oh, yeah.
you two have already discussed. But
Is it that wart on the back of the neck?
I've tried to have
I said-
surgery
I said
to
eventually.
get rid of that. I've tried to have
Eventually.
surgery.
Yeah. Well, we had the times that we had the Cocoa Pop discussion in here. Anyway, what have you discovered?
I've discovered that I don't like leaving the stage if it's going well.
Excellent.
Oh.
And I want to know what that's called in the trade, as it were, because I'm not a comic, but what I found, I enjoyed it. I had a nice time. They were kind to me. They laughed, they cried, they ticked all the boxes. I mean, it's easier for you when you mention that you've had deaths, people are kinder to you.
Right.
So they laughed at the appropriate bits. But what I found is, I like this, I'm not getting off.
Yeah.
And that's greed.
In the comedy business, it's called being an overrunning and then like a nasty word.
Is that hated then? So,
Yeah.
so what I want to ask you is, how do I force my ego to say, come on, you've got to get off? Because I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave. It's like sweet nectar for me.
I've got jokes I could give you that you will want to get off after you've done them. Yeah, me too. I've never done that.
Just make them adore you a bit less. That'll help.
Exactly. I knew guys who just went straight into self-destruct at times and would get. Their audience was loving them, and then they'd hate them, and then they'd go. And I think that was how they got off, if you know what I mean. But no, I like to. You want to leave them wanting more. The fact that you're wanting more is a very good sign. How will it last?
Well, I was just worried about that. And I noticed there was somebody, I thought of you two, because there was somebody who didn't turn up.
Thanks very much.
That's a personal affront to him.
Reputation.
Someone cancelled, and the lady who was presenting the sort of TED Talk said, well, I'm afraid we've had, unfortunately, one of our TED speakers won't be here today.
And you said, I'll do another one. I've got all the stuff.
I was up there already in a feather boa. There's no business. And they said, so I'm afraid the speakers abandoned ship will not be talking today. And I waited and I thought, come on, you're going to go for this, aren't you? Abandoned ship are not here today.
Oh, that was the name of the speaker?
Yes. And she just let it pass.
Wow.
And I said very loudly, I said, you've got to make a joke out of that. But I was on the front row and I think she heard me. Oh. But she should have made a joke out of that.
What do you mean? Someone called?
They were reading from something called, I think it was called Abandoned Ship.
Oh, I see.
Their first name wasn't Abandoned.
No, I see now.
Okay.
Was it the RNLI people? I mean, they're all there, all sorts of, all the...
Yeah.
It all went well, okay?
Good.
Except for when I sat on the TEDx, the X on the TEDx sign and nearly broke it. I didn't know it was polystyrene. I'm sorry.
Polystyrene after
It's
all
cheap.
these years.
I know. What did the Pope make of that?
Well, he wasn't. He was in his office, if you remember. He was on a nice office chair. Maybe he hovered. We don't know what he's capable of.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
You know, we're talking about Star Wars and
Yes.
Star Wars. I can't actually say it the way you say. I noticed earlier that I say absolute, and I think that Emily says absolute.
Absolute.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I think I say absolute.
We can't
It's
even
funny how Alan
agree.
and I seem to say...
Yeah, it is. It's
same,
weird,
isn't
two
it?
of you
Yeah.
being wrong all the time.
I say
What's the chances of that?
This is why...
say radio.
This
I
is
say
why...
absolute radio. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know when Frank says, well, it's funny the two of you being wrong all the time? That's why he's got that lovely penthouse.
Isn't it?
'Cause that's how he thinks. It's true, though.
Anyway.
He doesn't live in it anymore.
We were going to discuss Rag and Bone Man earlier, weren't we?
Yes.
Rag and Bone.
What were we...
When I say Rag and Bone Man, I mean the popular music star. I don't mean Arrowed. I mean,
No.
you know,
Although that is who he named himself after.
it is not.
What's Steptoe and Son?
Yes.
It is
It
not.
is. He was a fan of Step... Yes.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm warming to him now.
He's an interesting man, Rory.
Is he?
Rory Charles Graham.
We used to have a bloke, a Rag and Bone man, when I was a kid. Used to call them down the street. They were everywhere when I was a kid. Rag and Bone man with horse-drawn cars.
No.
Yeah.
And I can still remember his cry because only part of it was audible. So he'd say, "Old Reynolds, old Ronald." Old. He wanted old things, so I couldn't tell what they were. Old. And then he'd say, "Give me one, and I'll give you one."
Goodness me.
So there was an exchange going on of some kind.
Right.
but I never got to the bottom of what the
think it was
key.
a-
Maybe it's for the
I think it was
best.
a sales tactic to get you to say, what was that?
Exactly.
And then he's got you. Like when they put a spelling mistake in a sign outside the shop on open all hours.
Maybe. So it was
Yes.
old something. Give me something and I'll give you something. That was
Well,
the
I've said
deal.
that a few times, but
It feels like they're missing words round on a
okay.
quiz.
I know. What if it was that? What if we'd all stood on the pavement suggesting like various things?
Old iron, any old...
old iron.
No, but you're close.
I like that his name's Rag. It's Rag and Bone, isn't it, rather than and?
Yeah.
Which is he's got a particle in his name, I believe it's called.
That's
Is it?
Well, he's got the money to get that removed now. Well, it's
It's like Roger de Courcy.
You see, I thought though it was not really.
It is. It's Rag and Bone.
Yeah,
Roger, it is like that. Roger of Courcy.
Roger, of course. Is that what he's supposed to be? Because he felt he was a bit obvious. Roger, of course.
No, someone said, "What's your name, Roger?" Of Courcy.
Roger, of course, sounds like someone very, very promiscuous. I'm not suggesting he was, but what was the name of his puppet?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
That's The Clash with Rock the Casbah. What?
You just sounded like such a proper radio person.
I know, I do that now and again. I was also remembering William S. Burroughs tells a tale of how his aunt...
Work with them all.
His aunt went on a trip to the Casbah and she felt a pain in her hand and when she looked across, someone had cut her ring finger off and run off with her wedding and engagement ring.
Lovely story.
And,
What a lovely
apparently
story.
every time he told that story, he couldn't get the punchline out. He was laughing so much.
You would have got on with him.
He was a remarkable individual, but dark in the extreme. We should say, before people complain, he did accidentally shoot his wife through the forehead. So.
Oh, now they're never going to complain.
No, but I mean, because people say, "Oh, well, you're laughing about William S. Burroughs. What about his poor wife?" I agree, it was a terrible tragedy. Don't.
Well, I'm going to Google him. He
Goodness.
sounds like a real
Extraordinary 2
interesting
minutes.
chap.
They were playing William Tell. You know that thing they put a
God.
drink.
Tell me.
So you're going on about this
No,
thing.
okay. He put a drink glass on
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He was.
He can't stop it. He can't
He was
leave it alone.
troubled. Was he troubled?
I don't know if he was troubled. He was very. He did a lot of drugs.
You think not?
He did a lot of drugs. Yeah, because he had a dark side.
Yes, I think he did.
But
Goodness.
Oh, I've loved this link so far. This is probably my
who
favourite
expected
bit
a
of the
William
show.
S. Burroughs link? Breakfast radio.
Thanks, saying he was a little bit troubled.
Yeah, we was.
We've had a lot of people getting in touch about Rag and Bone Men,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
haven't we, Al?
Do you
Yeah.
mean the men who? Are they always men? I never remember a rag and bone woman in my childhood.
240, why ask for old iron when it's probably the cheapest metal? Why not shout any old precious metals? Or soon,
Like
any
that.
old coppers?
Have you seen?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Here we go.
Have you seen those adverts on daytime telly
For gold?
for gold?
Yeah.
They're advertising gold. People know about that, don't they?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Gold.
They send me
Hey.
your gold.
Yeah, they say. You ever thought of buying any gold? Well, yeah, I have thought about it, but if I'm going to get married or something. There's one of the bloke with a big handlebar moustache and said, "Look at these gold coins you can get." Well, it's so freaky.
Oh, he's offering to sell you gold.
Got buy gold, sell gold, just gold as a thing on an advert.
But also, what's odd is it's sort of put your gold in an envelope
Yeah, I
and send it
don't
off
like
to
the sound of
us.
that.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
going to do
if
that.
I've got gold,
I don't want gold. There's something disgusting about gold.
oh, I love gold.
Okay,
Do you
fair
love
enough.
A gold, yeah.
You said that really like, I love gold.
You know the trappings of like gold, champagne, they're all a bit naff.
I
really.
love-
And
that's why I love it.
I'm
Gold's one of
wearing,
my
I'm
favourite
wearing
things.
gold as I speak. You can't see it. But
Where is it?
Don't ask that on the radio.
Sickening.
dear.
Sickening.
It's
Yeah, I did it.
It's all gone a bit Monaco.
We're talking
What?
about Rag and Bone Man.
Oh, yes, Rag and-
I took us off onto a Roger of Coursey
Roger, of course, yeah.
slight
marvellous.
tributary.
So listen, we again, I'm getting pressure from the producer. I
I
mean,
know.
she's becoming a main.
Do you know what? She's becoming a real problem.
If you imagine creativity,
we love her.
if you imagine creativity as a car that's been clamped,
Right.
that's what.
No, we've got to do the links.
I know. You know what? I like pithy links. Yeah.
Okay.
I went to
You
school
get-
with her.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Rag and Bone Man.
We should say why we're talking about Rag and Bone Man.
Yeah.
'Cause at his
Can I ask
wedding,
a question about Rag
Sure.
and Bone?
Oh, yeah.
Because before, when I referred to him as R&B man, you said, "Oh yeah, R&B." I said, "Is that why he's called Rag and Bone Man? Because he
No,
does
he's-
R&B? He
Apparently
does
he's named
R&B,
after-
sort of, doesn't he?"
Apparently he's named after Steptoe
He's
and
named
Son,
after Steptoe.
which I find
But then it turns
extraordinary.
out that he's
No.
called Rory and his wife's called Beth.
Yes.
Oh,
Is that why he's
R&B?
called R&B man?
No.
Oh.
Does he drink a lot of rum and black?
He's not called R&B, he's called Rag and Bone Man.
That's
I
true.
know, but does he take the initials because he's
They-
Rory and Beth?
they chime
No.
with
He
a lot of
likes
his life.
Steptoe and Son. I don't know why you two old school people
Yes.
find it so odd to imagine that someone would be a fan of Steptoe. You
I
should be
do, but-
embracing
I
Rag
know,
and
but
Bone.
I do. But if I was a fan of Steptoe, I don't think I'd choose the generic Rag and Bone Man. I'd go a bit more specific. I might call myself Hercules,
Well,
which is the
that's
name of their horse.
But that's because you're a second thought person rather than a first thought.
Surely R&B man is a second thought person.
This is Rory Charles Graham we're talking about, who got married.
He got married, and there was a
Congratulations.
yeah, well done, as Emily would say.
Most insincere.
Actually, they look like a really nice couple. I thought
Yeah.
that's
I
nice.
think they're a lovely couple, and can I just say,
Looked like a fun wedding.
well, Al,
I think it's
do you
the
want to
wedding.
do the honours?
It's not the wedding.
I've got a theory about it.
Well,
I think
Al, would you like to share what was the dress code for the wedding?
dress code appeared to be tracksuits, sort of quite high-end, designery, heavily patterned tracksuits, which and jewellery and sunglasses.
Okay, lovely
Is
attempt.
Is that a good description?
I noticed
You've done well.
there's a couple of women still wearing heels.
I noticed that,
What?
Frank.
Yeah.
I noticed. Well,
Oh,
this
defeats
is what
the
he went
object.
for. He had a
Defeats the
camo.
object.
That's doing the bins, isn't it? Heels and heels and a tracksuit.
It's very
bottom.
Katie Price.
You know,
isn't it?
whatever's near the door, you wear
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
bins.
He went for a camo tracksuit, Ralph Lauren, I believe it was,
Was
Okay.
it
with a Mercedes-Benz logo. You'll be hearing
Yeah.
from my lawyers.
in his
Yeah, encouraging car crime.
jewellery?
Well, quite.
Embezzled
I
with
thought
jewels.
those days were over. And she went for a teal tracksuit customised with a print of her Sphinx cat, Patricia.
God, I wonder where that was going.
Do you know the Sphinx?
I do know the Sphinx. Yes, I also
It's had
know.
the full Hollywood.
I also know Gresham Blake, who was the person who designed her tracksuit.
Shut
you?
up.
Gresham
Shut
did
up.
several suits for me, and
Back in the
also
day.
I bought my partner Kath a suit from him. And she had a pinstripe suit, and when she got measured for it, is in Brighton, Gresham Blake.
This is extraordinary. You
When-
were having a fashion. I'm really
knowledge.
angry about this.
When she got measured for it, she kept saying a bit higher about the skirt. It was like higher, like it's like the price is right. And I said, that's getting very high, that skirt. And she said, no, I like it. And it did. I mean, it looked
Yeah.
amazing, but it was short.
Right.
I don't think she ever wore that skirt. She
Oh.
only ever wore the jacket. Once she put it on, I mean,
That's a shame.
it was really short.
Yeah.
I can use analogies and explanations.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them, I think, would get us taken off
think
here.
we
Well,
get
she's got a cracking pair of pins.
I know, but there was a lot more being displayed
Right.
than that.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
can never have too much love.
But
Well-
the same clothing designer that
that was
can
Gresham Blake who
make
made
a
who
skirt
made Beth.
can
I'm
also-
calling her Beth and Bone Man. Beth and Boneman's.
I'm really impressed that you know that.
Yeah,
you know
so-
all the fashion.
Yeah,
You
lovely
think she's
shop,
taken the
lovely shop
surname?
in Brighton.
You think she's taken
I
the
think she'd
surname
be Beth and
Boneman?
Beth and Bowman, yeah. You would do, wouldn't you? Let's pick, what about you say, yeah, my name's Beth and Bowman? People say, you're not married to Rag and Bone. No. No, we're one of the sorry and Bone Men.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Mr. Rag.
And Mrs.
Bone. Maybe
N.
N.
Bone.
Rag. Nigel Bone is his actual
Well, I
name.
think N is. I'm sorry, I do think it's a. I believe it's a particle. It's a nobiliary particle.
feel like
it's called.
Biliary particle.
Do you know the nobiliary
We spent
particle?
way too much time on their name when we should be concentrating on the fact that they got married in tracksuits.
This is your whole problem in life.
Yes, but
You don't know what a nobiliary particle is, and it will hold you back.
I don't know either. I'll be straight with you.
Okay, it's a D or a L.
One of those with a... Okay.
Or an of or a
right.
the,
Yeah,
etc. Anyway,
apostrophe
like,
ones.
like Macho the Day.
exactly like
I've
that.
always thought it should be called that, like
Kinda.
Cock of the Walk.
Exactly like
I
that.
wish it was called Macho the
They
Day.
got married in
I know.
tracksuits, everyone.
Not just any tracksuits, a Sphinx tracksuit.
Heavily patterned tracksuits.
But can I
which-
say,
Sphinx, Alan.
I looked at the congregation, all in their tracksuits, right?
in a group shot?
Yeah.
I felt like it needed somebody crouching holding a football, that group shot.
What I felt,
Yes.
there's nobody in it over about 35.
Isn't there?
No.
True. Yeah.
There is no wedding. There cannot be a wedding that doesn't have older people. So I
They
don't
might
think...
hate old people. It's
I
fine.
don't think
It's
this
their
is the
choice.
wedding, the real wedding. I think this
Also,
is-
let's be honest, who is in need of the comfortable leisure wear? People
The
like
elderly.
us, the elderly. No,
but
not
they don't
you,
look.
Al.
They don't. I don't look so good in leisure wear now. I like wearing a suit.
Who cares?
No,
just
I
like-
think you do. I tell you what you look like in leisure wear. You look a bit Miami agent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
no.
there's a certain
I-
look.
What I liked about
I like
the idea
having
of it,
shoulders occasionally.
I like the idea that the photos that were taken at like 1 a.m. or something after the party had presumably happened, they would have looked exactly the same as they did at the thing. Whereas if you've got like the top hat and tails,
Yeah.
people end up, there's sort of decay, isn't there? Like you
Yes.
see people like bridesmaids with their hair down and their shoes off, and everybody just looks a bit bedraggled by the end of the night. But in
Yes.
a tracksuit, they look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm about to sit down and have a 4-course meal,
You want a drawstring?
I want some give in my waist area.
Absolument.
But they all looked very cool. They didn't look like people who were flopping down to watch Match of the Day. I imagined there was some very...
Willow the Wits.
I'll tell you my first thought when I saw them as a young, cool group was I bet there'll be some very complicated handshakes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You know how much
Yes.
handshaking there is at a wedding, but it's going to be knuckle bashes and lip
Yeah,
twi-
yeah.
Oh my goodness! I also thought I bet there's a lot of producers
Yes.
there.
Yeah. yeah.
You know how
Oh,
producers?
yeah.
It's a bit like the cyclist thing. Producers
Yeah.
used to be a small, bespectacled man who turned switches, and now they've become stars in their own.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
this
think
is a bit orcs.
I think this weekend there'll be a proper wedding.
You think?
With the older people and all that in suits, and I
the
think we'll
older
see
people
Rag
were
and Bone Man in
there.
a suit.
They just weren't allowed in the photo op.
But
Right.
'Cause we
R&B
get left
doesn't.
out.
He doesn't strike me as the sort of bloke that wouldn't have his, older relatives.
He's got
and
respect.
stuff.
Do you
There'd
think?
be an
Yeah,
old
yeah.
nana there. He's a nice bloke. He was a carer.
I know,
like
but what? He's a nice bloke. So don't want anyone over 35 here.
No,
That'd
they
be
were
rubbish.
not part of the hen, and I saw that as the maids of honour.
I bet there's a wedding today. There's a proper Rag and
reckon?
Bone Man wedding. He'll be in pinstripes and
50p.
50p. You've got it.
Pinstripes.
I'll tell you what. And if I win, I'll text Absolute Radio with my winnings. Okay, that's my theory. Richie Firth is up next. So listen to that. Thank you so much for listening to us. And you know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.